It's time once again for That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ, where business becomes show business. Jamie is a leading Tampa Bay real estate agent and featured on the Wall Street Journal's list of top 100 real estate agents in the nation. Jamie invites you to list your home with him today and learn more at tampabayradio.com. Now, live in studio and promoting the entrepreneurial spirit that drives the American economy, your host, Jamie Maloney.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another hour of That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business. Live stream available over at tampabayradio.com, and all shows made available on demand over there as well, both the audios and the videos. We always recommend people check out the videos over on YouTube. That's a high-definition video, and we upload those by the hour after each program. So there's a 7 a.m. video, and then there's an 8 a.m. video, and also available on iTunes as a podcast. In today's segment, on the second part of the show, we'll be talking with Dale Neighbors from Dale's Neighborhood, as I like to say. He's a realtor with Coldwell Banker and has a very good last name there. Kind of goes along with real estate. So Dale Neighbors of Dale's Neighborhood. It's a little tricky to say, but nonetheless, he'll be on in the 8:30 segment. Up first, we have Joe Fedison of Engaged Action Training. He is a professional speaker, and we're going to be talking about neuro leadership for project managers. So this is an interesting discussion because I like all of that brain type of talk. So Joe, welcome to the program today.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about what neuro basics are and how this applies to leadership.
Well, the first thing you probably start out with is neuro leadership. I did a talk the other night on Tuesday, and I asked a group of maybe 30 people. I said, how many people know what neuro leadership is? And these were professionals, and not too many people actually knew. It's a term that was coined, I think, in 2007. And basically what it means is that you take what's been learned in studying the brain and cognitive sciences and add it to leadership principles. It's that simple. And the way I put it, to make it as simple as possible, it's easier to work with your brain than against it.
Oh, that's good advice right there. Working with the brain instead of against it. So taking that off the top today. So neurobasic, neuroplasticity. I've heard that term somewhere before.
That is a term that it's something that they've figured out now. In the last 20, 30 years, they've been able to map the brain out in real time with what's called an fMRI and everything like that. So ever since they're able to do this with scanners and everything, they've been having a field day with it. So they put a scanner on someone, they find them, they have them do something, they do shopping, they do word problems, they do everything, and they see how the brain reacts. And they've learned a lot of different things. And one of the things they came up with is the fact that what they told us when we were young is not true. This is one of the biggest breakthroughs. I remember when I was in college, I remember they told us they had a big group come in. I was in a fraternity. And they told us that if you drink and get drunk every weekend the way you are, you're killing millions and millions of brain cells every time, and you have only so many.
I remember that. I still believe that. You're telling me that's not true then?
That is not true.
Oh, finally.
You're in the clear.
Some good news on that.
I mean, it damages your brain gets sloshy and all that kind of stuff. And the number of brain cells they had was incorrect also. Neurons. You actually have about 100 billion neurons and actually about 100 trillion connections. So what they found out is that whole thing that your brains, they also said that, from age 0 to 5 is when you're really getting your brain set. And by age 5, you're pretty much set for life on certain areas. Now, that was incorrect. They moved it up to 18, and by 18, you're set. Whoever you are, how your brain works, that's it. Well, it turns out is that our brains are not fully developed until age 24, 25. And actually, the last part to develop is the most important part, is your prefrontal cortex, where you can actually do some creative thinking. And this is why you might look back and go, oh, now I see why we did that in college. That's why we acted this way or did that thing, because your brain, your prefrontal, actually modulates your emotions. It modulates what you do, makes you do things smart as opposed to just being emotionally driven. And it's not developed till age 25. So that's one of the things. And neuroplasticity is the fact that you can always learn. Your brain can always grow.
So old dogs can learn new tricks. And so this age-old idea of, he's just set in his ways, you're not changing him, is not true.
It is not true at all. Exactly. You are so right. And the fact is also, so many things they found out about the brain developing is that when someone has a damage to the brain and you think that area is done, well, it turns out that the brain repairs itself, goes ahead and builds new tracks, new connections in another place to overcome that part of the loss.
You're saying at any age?
At any age. It gets tougher as you get older, of course, but they have shown this, at any age. If you're on the twilight years of your time, some of the best things you can do is learn a second language or do music. Both of those, learn an instrument, both of those are very brain-intensive learning. And when you start doing those, you can actually track the neurons growing. It's a phenomenal thing.
And what you're saying is, as leaders, you got to learn to recognize what's going on inside your head, because you have the amygdala, which is one of our oldest components of the brain, which is designed to protect us from dangers. And so whenever we're in a threatening situation, we rely on the amygdala, whereas the prefrontal cortex has come later in our development, which is where we need to focus our attention on. Explain this.
You know what? Yeah, you know what? That's very good. Very good. You're exactly right there. Early on, what happened is that we're here today because we're a very cautious species, right? We made it millions of years when a lot of species didn't make it. The reason is that we have a part of our brain called the amygdala, which is scanning our world for threats and problems. And whenever it sees something, I mean, you've been in a situation. I tell a story about just the other day, 2 weeks ago. We have a TV in the bedroom, and it's on the dresser, and my fiance's like, it would look great on top of the dresser, up against the wall, 5 feet up. I was like, you sure? Yeah, it would be, right? And she's like, but I'm watching the show right now. I'm like, well, I don't have time. So I get up and I take the TV while it's on, and I put it up on the wall, and I'm starting to screw it in and do everything. But on the screen is a show where the scene is panning back and forth. And I know this stuff, and I understand it. And my eyes see that, and my amygdala sees that, and it goes, uh-oh, you're moving. You're moving. It's like you're sitting in a car in a parking lot, and the car next to you pulls back, and you think you're moving, right? So so what happens is, once your amygdala gets in place, gets going, you can't stop. It takes over. So my body starts shifting on the dresser to compensate for what it thinks is happening. That's what your amygdala does. It takes control to save you at any time.
So as a leader, you got to be able to recognize that sometimes our responses are, pre-programmed into us, and we got to be mindful of the fact that, hey, this is a natural response that I've got to think through and come to a resolution for.
Exactly. And it's not just you. It's the people who are working on your team. Sometimes things happen and threats happen and stressful events happen. The problem is that when you need to make an important decision, it's always a stressful event. You're going to do a project, something happens, your team doesn't show up, someone drops and breaks the most important part of your project, and you're in a stressful mode. Now you have to react, and what's going on is your amygdala's taking over and doing what it wants to do and not doing what you want to do, and you got to be cognizant of that. And I also, I have ways to get out of that and how to refocus yourself and move forward on that.
Can we just take some drug to shut it down, and then we just focus on the prefrontal cortex or something?
Actually, here's how it works. Here's the basics of it. It's pretty easy. Actually, amygdala does the emotional response, and your prefrontal cortex does the modulation and the clear thinking. And what happens is that when you go into an emotional response, it's designed to save and protect you, and all it can do is fight, flight, or freeze. That's what it does. That's from the old times. That's when you see an animal, something like that. That's what they run on to protect themselves. We still have the same exact programming, which doesn't work in our everyday life. What else it does is that since the prefrontal came in later, it sends a signal up to the prefrontal when it's going to what's called amygdala hijack. It tells the prefrontal to shut up. It starts inhibiting your clear thinking because it's saying, listen, I've been doing this for millions of years. You're dumb. I don't want you looking at this bear going, is that a bear or a lion? I need to take action now. So it shuts that down.
Right.
In high threats, it shuts it down completely, and you're in total, amygdala hijack, emotional control. And you've seen people like this. People are in total craziness, and you're trying to talk to them, and you're like, you're not thinking clearly. And they're like, no, I'm not thinking clearly. Their brain is shut off. But the good part is that your prefrontal can modulate your emotions. They go both ways. So if you can get your prefrontal activated again, it'll send a signal down to the amygdala and say, yeah, you shut up, I got control of this.
So the amygdala is the thing that kept us from getting eaten by the lions all through the years and everything. Now then the prefrontal came along in terms of along with our development, and that controls the complex thinking and the emotional control aspect of our decision making.
You're very right. You are good. You got this down, Jamie.
How do you access each different part? If you want a certain part to do something and you don't want it to come from the amygdala, how do you access those individually?
Excellent. That is excellent. And that is the question. I watch speakers. I've been studying this for years. I've been studying leadership for decades, and then this is for the last couple of years. And there are several things. What you got to do is you have got to get your prefrontal to start working. But your brain doesn't want to do that. Your brain is wants to conserve energy. It doesn't want to use your prefrontal because it conserves so much energy. But here's when it starts working. There's a few things you can do. One of my favorites, and you've seen this on TV, you've seen it ever, is you need to ask a question that can get through to
Or ask ourselves a question.
or someone else, right? You see someone in a threat response and they're going crazy, right? And you go up and go, stop doing that. You're going crazy. And that does nothing. All that's doing is going in here, going here. They're running a program and you can't get in. But if you can ask something such as, what happened to you?
What are you feeling right now?
Maybe, yeah, something like that. And at first they might do blah, blah, blah. But if you could get through and say, just tell me your side of the story. And if, secrets to asking questions real quickly. Only ask one question at a time. Wait for the answer. I don't care how long the awkward moment is. If that can get through, you'll see it. People go, well, that person did this to me. And once they start talking, you can actually see that person go, whoo, and just start releasing everything. And as soon as they start talking, and it's not so much they're talking, it's that the prefrontal sending a signal down saying, okay, listen, everything's okay. You're not going to die. You know, it was... That guy gave you a dirty look. That's all that happened, okay? You know?
So you're saying operation of the prefrontal cortex requires more energy, and that controls our complex thinking. So that's why I'm tired all the time, is my prefrontal was kicking in, whereas, I'm not controlled by my amygdala as much. So that's what I'm saying from now on. That's why I'm always tired. It's not because I'm hitting the gym and working out. It's because my prefrontal kicks in too much.
Jamie, you're on target this morning. You seriously are. Your brain actually uses 20% of your body's energy.
Well, there you go. That's why I'm tired all the time.
And it actually goes back and runs programs from millions of years ago about conserving energy because it uses so much. So it really doesn't want to use that energy so much. A lot of times, one of the things I went over on Tuesday was the fact that we do quick decisions all the time. We make a quick decision, and it's not always right because our brain doesn't want to use this area because it takes so much energy, and it just pulls answers from the back of your brain or top of your brain.
Is quick decision making good or bad? I've always said it's a good thing to be a quick decision maker. How would you respond?
I know, and I heard you say that last time I was here, and I was like, it goes
back to the story.
That is a mantra. It is a mantra, but here's the thing: is that quick decision making can be, what's a quick decision? A minute, 5 minutes, right?
No, it's subjective, obviously. Yes.
Here's where quick decisions in your brain is: 50 milliseconds. That's when someone says something to you, and we do it all the time. You're like, oh, why did I say that? It's because your brain did something. Something came in, you made a decision, took action, and you didn't have time to think about it. But they've done studies that you don't have to wait an hour, 10 hours. Yeah, they've done studies you wait 50 milliseconds more, 100 milliseconds more. You increase the probability of making a better decision by 75%. Just by waiting that little bit more.
But that's still a quick decision in terms of you and I talking about something.
It is. So when me and you say quick decision, what I'm thinking of quick decision might be different than your
Yeah, and I derived that from the story of Napoleon Hill and Andrew Carnegie and that whole, 7 habits of, the successful people and all that stuff. So that's where I get that idea from. Let me take a break here. Currently talking to Joe Feddesen of Engaged Action Training. Learn more at engagedactiontraining.com or give him a call at 813-451-3637. We'll have a special offer for you when we come back from the break for him as well. Again, you're listening to That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business.
I knew Mom wanted to stay at home. It's the center of her family, her life. But helping Mom stay in her home while managing mine was just too much. Honestly, it wasn't just about me. Mom didn't want me to be her caretaker. She wanted me to be her daughter. I felt so alone until I found out about Home Instead Senior Care. When we met the people at Home Instead, we just knew they were different. The experience was personal. And most importantly, for Mom and me, I get to be her daughter again.
Home Instead Senior Care. To us, it's personal.
Who doesn't have a smartphone these days? And of course, there's an app for everything. Well, almost everything. That's why the folks at Popcorn Apps started developing mobile applications. They saw people like you with genius ideas, unable to make those thoughts a reality. They develop applications for tens of thousands of dollars less than you'll find anywhere else, and will turn your idea into a reality in a matter of just a few months. Think you're not ready? Think again. They are your one-stop shop for mobile application development. See them at popcornapps.com with a K in popcorn, or call them at 727-415-6705 for your free consultation and pop your kernel of an idea into $1 million business and a world changer starting today.
At Vein 911, we will help you feel great again. Do you have restless legs, night leg cramps, or ankle swelling? Restless legs, cramping, swelling, and tired heavy legs are often symptoms of hidden vein disease. You do not have to have visible bulging veins to have the symptoms of vein disease. The vein care specialists at Vein 911 are uniquely qualified to evaluate and treat your veins. Are you unhappy with your previous vein treatment? Vein 911 succeeds where others fail. Call Vane 911 today at 855-VANE-911. That's 855-834-6911 to book your free consultation. Vane 911. We will help you feel great again.
Are you in need of new flooring or ready to tackle that home remodeling project? Then contact Yeager & Company Incorporated, a family-owned, state-certified general contracting business with over 70 years of experience and the recipient of the Angie's List Super Service Award for the last 8 years in multiple categories. Yeager & Company comes to you with their shop-at-home flooring sales service, and their hardwood flooring refinishing is the very best in the Bay. Kitchen and bath design featuring American-made, well-born cabinets, and all work is done by employees, not subcontractors. Learn more at YeagerFlooring.com.
If you've been following That Business Show on Facebook and Twitter, you may have noticed the quality of some of our images. That's because one of our sponsors is pro photographer Rick Taseda, a member of the Professional Photographers of America. You can view his extensive work by going to his website at ricktaseda.com or call him for an appointment to chat about your photography needs at 813-641-4757. That's 813-641-4757. Rick Taseda Visuals. Call him for your next event or project. In an age when the good and the better vie for attention, it is the best that stands out. The best of Tampa Bay from Proudly Florida is the love story for the city of Tampa, celebrating success, sharing achievements, a tribute to enterprise and community spirit. Let Proudly Florida showcase your business to your city, your nation, and the world. For more information, email info@proudlyflorida.com and be sure to visit proudlyflorida.com.
How many times have you said to yourself, I wish there was an app for that? Stop wishing and start making the world better. Turn your brilliant idea into a profitable business by using Popcorn Apps. Their affordable app design will help get your blue sky idea or proven business to the next level at a fraction of the cost of other developers. They will help you get through all the steps needed to make your thoughts become live. See them at popcornapps.com with a K in popcorn, or call them at 727-415-6705 for your free consultation and pop your kernel of an idea into $1 million business and a world changer starting today.
From the RP Funding Traffic Network.
Slow traffic in Countryside on southbound US 19 from 580 to around Drew Street. Also northbound 275. Typical delays off the Howard Franklin Bridge into the West Shore area. Westbound I-4 slow between Alexander and Branch Forbes. Crash on southbound Roosevelt right near the St. Pete Clearwater Airport as you approach Almerton Road. That one slowing traffic through that area. And also a crash still being cleared on 54 and US 41. See traffic problems? Call the injury firm of Abrahamson Uterick Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line 866-545-9595.
This report is brought to you by Dex Imaging. When it comes to digital copiers and printers, nobody performs like Dex. Partner with an office imaging company that puts you first. Visit them at deximaging.com. That's deximaging.com.
Today, partly cloudy with a slight rain chance, high 87. Tonight, clearing skies, low 71. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, high 87.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Missed a show? Then head over to TampaBayRadio.com, where all shows are available on demand. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
And we're back to That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business. Talking to Joe Fedison of Engaged Action Training. Learn more at his website, engagedactiontraining.com. And Joe, before we move on, you have an offer for the listeners out there. Let's go and get that out.
Yes, what I'm going to do is that anyone who wants to have me come to their place of business in the Tampa Bay area, I will do that at no cost as a complimentary 1-hour training. And usually what can be done is it's called like a lunch and learn, come in at lunchtime, bring everyone in this way you don't lose, the pace of what you're doing. And I'll work on, anything that off my website. And I'll do that to one person in the Tampa Bay area, no cost, absolutely free. First person who comes into my website from this point on, whatever time it is now, and just goes to the contact page and says, yes, I would like to have that done. Here's my contact information. Contact me. And then I will go and I will take a snapshot of all the emails that come in and just show to prove who was the first one. And that will be that. So,
all right. So it's a very engaging talk, very interesting talk. I mean, we're kind of condensing like an hour or an hour and a half worth of material here into just like a 20-minute segment.
Well, actually,
what was the website again? Did we give that again?
It's engagedactiontraining.com. Okay. I know it's long, but the words are easy to spell.
and we're talking about neuro leadership for project managers. And let's talk about emotional management. I always say all decisions that a person makes involves one of three components: a logical component, an emotional component, and then there's a faith-based component in some decision makings. I always say that the best decisions are made when you're thinking logically. So how can we control the emotional component of the decision making, and should there be an emotional component with regard to business decisions?
Well, actually there is, and we talked a little bit about that during the break, and I actually want to just take this a little bit different direction. In this emotional management part here is when you are a leader and you have a team, and something happens to you. Say you get a call, and next week you got to fire 20 people. And you're looking at your team who you love and you've been working for years with, and there's like 40 of them out there, and all of a sudden you get this rush of stress, and all of a sudden you feel threatened, and your body's just going into a little threat response, and you don't know what to do, and you're worried about it. You think, I'm just going to put on the smile face. I'm just going to go out there and smile like nothing happened, because I don't want them to get all worried about it. Just is this going to happen? But I'm just going to do that. And you go outside, and you think you're not affecting your team, but since they're able to do all kinds of studies now, that is not true. Suppression does not work anymore. Well, never worked before. Now they know, and they proved it. What they did is they hooked everyone up, of course, and they did a simulation. And it turns out when someone's suppressing a high emotion and they walk and they try to smile it off, all of a sudden your blood pressure's going up. Oh, you're feeling anxious. Oh, that person's going to a threat response, and they don't even know what's happening. Part of it is the fact that your amygdala is so itchy trigger and so good that even though you're not consciously picking up, it's pulling everything. It's like stress in their voice. Oh, their muscle tension in their face. There's something wrong here. I know there's something wrong. And the funny thing is, well, it's not so funny, is that women are way better at picking this up than men. And it's not something where you just say anymore. They're actually proven it. They have more neurons in that area. Wherever you have the more connections, the better you are. And women pick it up way better than men do. So don't try to fool the women, okay?
Right. So what are some tips then when, dealing with emotions with regard to business, and that we can share with the listeners?
So here's what happens, right? Your job, something happens, and not just one thing, you got to fire people, but there's things that happen to you all the time. It could be things in your personal life that happens, and you have to lead your team, right? I mean, your team, it's not your family, and what happens to you, unfortunately, if you want to move your team forward, which I'm sure you do, you want to get your projects done on time, you want to move your business forward, you can't be doing something that affects them. Because if you take your emotions and you put them on them, it's called emotional contagion, actually. What happens to them is that they start feeling the stress, and sometimes it takes a half an hour, 2, 3, depending on how they feel, 2-3 hours for them to flush it out. If it's bad enough and it's shutting them down, inhibiting their prefrontal cortex, their thinking, and you think they're going to go back to after you walk through and you say hi or whatever, and they pick up on this, they go back to their desk, try to write some code or try to design and graphics. It's not going to happen. So by you being in that area, that emotional response, and not controlling it, you just cut off 10 hours of your team without knowing it, and that's not what you wanted.
Well, how do you control it then? Do you just avoid that situation? If you get a call like that, do you say, okay, like you avoid the team altogether? And how do you create that from not happening?
That is not something you can do, right? But what you do is that you have to modulate it yourself. And I mentioned it earlier before. There's one thing you can do is you ask questions. You change the thing. You have to identify. You identify it and you modify it. Okay.
So that'd be something within yourself. Ask yourself questions and try to get to the point where you can deal with this later and then function properly with your team.
The one thing I do is this: you recognize, identify, and modify. And what I do is this: I go to myself. I'm like, oh, I know what's happening. I'm upset because this guy cut me off on the way in. And that alone,
just acknowledge it.
Yeah, that alone starts turning things down.
Joe Fedison of Engaged Action Training. Learn more at his website. Take advantage of his offer for a free presentation at your place of business, engagedactiontraining.com. Joe, good stuff. I wish you had more time.
Yep, thank you so much.
Thank you for being here.
Coming back from the break, we're going to be talking with Dale Neighbors, real estate agent with Coldwell Banker, on That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business.
Hi, I'm Kelly Ham from Billmeyer Ham Consulting. Did you know that one of the biggest challenges that leaders face is getting their employees to be engaged, motivated, and producing amazing business results? At Billmeyer Ham Consulting, we'll help you transform your workforce culture from one that might be underperforming, maybe mediocre, to achieving amazing business results. You see, we realize that your workforce culture is equally as important as your business plan and your business strategy. The two must be aligned in order for you to reach your desired business and financial goals.
Carol,
hey Jim.
I just got this plan that could really help with our process here.
Okay, why don't you just have a seat and let's go over it.
Let us help you transform your workforce culture by leveraging your most important assets, your people. I want to know what's going on in your organization. Let us help you transform your workforce culture. Let's have a conversation.
I feel guilty that I can't always be there when Mom feels stuck at home. She was always there for us. But now she can't get out, and I'm not always available to take her places. Someone else needs to help her get around. Then I learned about Home Instead. Now Mom can do what she enjoys because her personal caregiver is there, and I can just be a daughter again.
Are you struggling to care for your loved one? We can help. Home Instead Senior Care. To us, it's personal.
95.95.
This report is brought to you by the Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer. The Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer is the top choice of doctors, nurses, and other health professionals nationwide. Make it your choice too. The Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer. Get yours at Walgreens and other fine retailers today.
1250 winds, Weather Center forecast. Look for sunny skies today, some stray clouds. Mid-80s for the high, staying dry today. Upper 60s for the low. Next couple of days, same forecast, though Wednesday, look for the rain chance to return around 30%. Impact Radio 1250 winds, WHNZ.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Missed a show? Then head over to TampaBayRadio.com, where all shows are available on demand. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
And we're back to That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly. And if you're just tuning in, wondering who Kelly is, Kelly Wilson of Edge Business Magazine and the Edge Business Community is now the co-host here on the program, helping me out with the program and adding a touch of estrogen, as she announced herself last week. But it's always good to have a female perspective on things. Oftentimes I don't see certain points or certain areas of a discussion, and so she adds some depth to the conversation. So it's time to bring on our next guest for the program. We have Dale Neighbors, real estate agent with Coldwell Banker, and you can learn more about him over at DaleNeighbors.com. Dale, welcome to the program today.
Welcome.
Thank you both for having me.
So, Dale, you and I go back a ways. I started in real estate about 9 years ago at the South Tampa office. I'm still there. You had an office in there at that time, but you moved down the road, I think, to the West Shore office, correct?
Yeah, and we have some actually other exciting news. We've just moved our Kennedy office to 500 North West Shore.
Okay. And you've been in the real estate business how many years now in the area?
Well, even though I'm in my 20s, I've actually been doing this about 35 years.
35 years. Wow. So you have incredible experience, all based in the Tampa Bay region?
All based in the Tampa Bay market.
Are you a Tampa native yourself, or are you an implant from another area too?
Well, I'm actually one of those rare natives.
Yeah.
Are you an implant?
Implant. Well, that's it works. You're an implant from out of the area.
Somewhere.
I'm an implant from West Virginia. I've been in the Tampa Bay and Lakeland area since I was 18. But you did you specialize and did you go into real estate, right out of high school or college? Any other dabblings in any other type of corporate work before you got into real estate?
We had a family plant nursery before this, and then I decided to branch out and do my own thing and do this.
So
you didn't stay in the family business?
No.
Why real estate? I always ask this question because for me it was, I wanted to run my own business, and the barrier to entry for real estate is very easy. It's very easy to get a real estate license. Very difficult, though, to succeed. Many realtors, drop out after about 1 year. Dale, been in business 35 years. First off, why did you make the transition out of a family business into real estate, and what do you attest your long-term success in the business to?
Well, part of it was the entrepreneurship of doing something on my own. As you yourself know, it's not the easiest thing to do, and I had enough money originally to buy a little duplex And I lived in the top of the duplex for about 7 years and rented the bottom out.
That's a great tip. My dad gave me that tip when I was young, too. Buy a duplex, rent out one side, and live in the other.
Yeah.
So you took that tip and actually did it. So
Yeah.
worked out well for you. Go ahead and continue.
Yeah, so my cost was $80 a month because the tenant paid the rest. I learned where all the new home construction and open houses were that had food because that's where I ate, okay? So I really feel that sometimes maybe people today, young people, they haven't been humbled and hadn't learned the hard way. So I think that helped me a lot.
I talked a little bit about that earlier in the show when I was talking about so many people wanting instant gratification and not really willing to work and put the time in and work hard to get where you want to go.
Yeah, I love that, how you went to the open houses just to eat. I mean, you don't hear stories like that anymore. I mean, that's but it works. So in real estate, you can make it on open house foods and everything. So how soon before you made that first sale in the business? Did you get a slow start in real estate? Did you take off after a few months?
I was in an office up in the Temple Terrace area originally, and quick story on that. That broker had a philosophy that I had a hard time with. He was the kind of guy that thought you should go out and get a new expensive car and get into debt and all that. Well, a number of years later, he went bankrupt, and I'm still around. So my philosophy, I couldn't do that mold. That just wasn't going to work for me. But it was several months. We did at that time what we called opportunity time. Our office was located where people it was a storefront. I sold a lot on the Hillsborough River. That was the first sale that I did. And from there, and it kind of mushroomed, from there in many different directions.
I remember getting into real estate and having an old beater car, too, an old Sentra, and I was a little bit embarrassed to take some clients around in it from time to time. I had one time point blank tell me, said, you got to get a new car. He was an investor. He spent a lot of money and everything, and I think he was kind of embarrassed to be seen in it.
It's almost a prerequisite when you're in real estate.
But you got to make ends meet. And Dale, sharing some great stories about how, he made ends meet in the beginning. So 35 years in business, what do you owe that success to? What kept you in the business?
I actually, and it sounds maybe cliche, but in the last couple of years, I sold a house I had sold 25 years ago. I mean, I sold it again, and it was kind of funny to think about. That was near the Palmacia Country Club, and when I sold it, it was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. The lot was big, but when I originally sold it, it was a 2-1. But when I sold it again for this seller, it had become a 4-3 with an in-ground pool.
Right.
So the house in this side of town in South Tampa, you can do things that you might not be able to do in other parts of town and get away with it. So it was kind of cool that this year I sold a house I sold 12 years ago, one that was 5 years ago. So it's kind of neat that people actually do remember what you have done. And you really, last night I actually talked to a customer that had some health issues. I just called him, and I think it made his day that I actually stepped up the plate and just did that. For no real reason, I truly did enjoy working with he and his family.
Now we talk a lot about the power of referrals. Is your business mostly referral based versus traditional marketing? Tell me a little bit about how you source your business right now.
A lot of it is from personal referrals. It is doing some different marketing. I teamed up with someone that actually we're doing a lot of email campaign. I think I have like 3,500 people.
Yeah, I just noticed I'm starting getting emails from you now. So, I hadn't seen that before from you and everything.
Yeah, so we're doing
it's just about having a presence. Email marketing is a challenge because I do a lot of it myself and everything. But in today's age, and, you hit the unsubscribe button and you lose that person. So you got to have other ways to reach them, too. But it helps if you've got committed, clients and customers, people you've actually done business with.
Yeah, and after 35 years, you have many. You're obviously very good at building relationships, too. And you keep in touch with them. I think that's key, too.
Yeah. It just kind of, like I said, the one last night made the person feel good, but I felt it was the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. One thing I did learn that we're always in a hurry. And I can still remember a lady I had listed in Seminole Heights. This is a number of years ago. And I could tell that if you stopped to give new brochures or just give her an update, because this was in the days you needed to, and some people weren't that email savvy, you needed to really tell her in person. She wanted you to stay for a while. And in the past, you might be in a hurry. And I said, well, maybe this is the right thing to stay and have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with her, because that might be the highlight of her day.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes, hanging around a while where maybe we're all in a hurry, maybe taking a step back for someone else.
Right.
Maybe that means a lot to them.
Right, absolutely. Today in real estate, do you have a niche market, a specialty? Do you stay mostly in the South Tampa region? Do you go across Hillsborough? Tell me about your market reach.
Well, I guess from doing it this long, it's kind of, I feel like it metamorphosed itself from, this relative lives here, like I not long ago sold one in New Tampa. Well,
so you're not afraid to drive north of Kennedy like some of the South Tampa realtors.
I don't have nosebleed north of Kennedy.
All right, yeah. Some people
Good
can't
to
go.
know.
Some people can't cross the bridge to Pinellas, and some people can't drive north of Kennedy. And I always laugh and thinking, because I grew up in West Virginia, where we drove an hour and a half to get to the nearest mall. We drove 3 hours to get to an airport. I'm used to driving, and so when somebody says that Central Tampa or New Tampa is far, I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah. I mean, far to me is like Citrus County or something. I take listings up in Hernando, Polk, Sarasota, but I do bank properties. You're doing traditional retail business and everything, but so you're covering the entire Tampa Bay region too?
Pretty much Hillsborough County, Pinellas, and maybe the 54 corridor, just that southern part of Pasco.
All right.
I think any further for me in the retail part is kind of more challenging to go any further than that.
Now, you recently wrote a book, Do What Works, by Tampa's Real Estate Guru, available over again on your website, DaleNeighbors.com. Tell us a little bit about this book and what inspires you to write the book.
Well, and you can see there's a tab on the page to actually see the book or actually buy the book. I know you can't see it, but we're in the...
Yep, on the video stream we have that. Yep, go ahead.
But part of what happened is this was in my head. I said, I have all these thoughts all these years. Why don't we put this in some kind of a tangible book to help both buyers and sellers? Kind of hung around for a while, then it was not finished. A real quick story, not to get morbid, but in several years ago I was in Miami, got mugged. Oh, no. Almost didn't survive that. So after that, kind of like with this gentleman on your show before, you start thinking about different things and unfinished business per se. Mm-hmm. And this was one of the things that wasn't finished, an idea in a book that wasn't finished. The other thing, I built a spec house because I always wanted to do that. So I've tried to, do that bucket list that we seem to kind of keep saying we're going to do, and I wanted to get some of those things due.
What are some of the tips then in the book? Is the book then designed for both buyers and sellers, so people from both sides of the coin can benefit from?
Right. It's only about 85 pages, so it's not like a scary encyclopedia. So if you hand it to someone, they probably are going to read it. How some things you might not, might not even want to look at it because it's too big.
Yeah, and there's a lot of good, basic tips that I'm amazed that a lot of people just don't understand in real estate. Something as simple as getting approved for a mortgage before you go shopping for a home. Share some tips that people can get from your book, Do What Works, just generally speaking for our listeners.
Well, part of it is like if you're going to put your home on the market, the idea of it, and there's a few things in here. It says, why don't you drive by your own home and see what you think of it and turn your thoughts as now you're the buyer. What do you think of the way your house looks when you drive by it? I mean, is the mailbox ugly? Is the front door ugly? Is the curb appeal really not there? So what I find that, and I'm amazed even when I'm setting up showings to show people how maybe the listing side hasn't educated the consumer as the seller, meaning making your house really look sharp in the front so it's got curb appeal, and making it easy to show. You can attest those are two problems that I find that are amazing to me.
Yeah, and sellers have to remove what I call emotional value from the cost or from the price of their home when they're putting it onto the marketplace. I'm sure you have endured many conversations with sellers about, I know what you want to get, but the market says this. Elaborate if you will.
Yeah, we have just because you want it to net X, that doesn't mean that's what's going to be what's going on in the market.
And a lot of times they'll tell you, well, I've put in new wood flooring, I've done this. I mean, what are you seeing in the Tampa Bay market with regard to repairs or upgrades on a home versus return in value? If I put a $20,000 kitchen in my home, am I going to get a $20,000 or $30,000 return on that investment necessarily?
Not necessarily. I think, and I've had examples of that where even some people that a couple years ago in Carrollwood, I told them, because they might have been on that trigger where they might have to be relocated, and I said, I think you could probably spend $5,000 on this kitchen and make it look sharp where they went out and went crazy and spent 20. Then we had to sell it because they got relocated. People liked it because it looked nice, but I think if they would have spent the 5 versus the 20, they would accomplish the same goal.
Yeah, it's a common misconception I see in the real estate market. I think it derives from people that come from out of other areas where that may be true, but at least right now in Tampa's market, if you put in a $20,000 kitchen, you're not necessarily going to get a $20,000 return. A lot of people think that they'll get like 2 times their investment or something. May hold true in other markets at other times. I don't know, but I commonly hear that. I think that's where that misconception comes from. Let me take a break here. Currently talking to Dale Neighbors. He's a real estate agent with Coldwell Banker, and you give him a call at 813-679-1117. Again, 813-679-1117, or visit daleneighbors.com. And again, pick up a copy of his book, Do What Works, by Tampa's Real Estate Guru. You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business.
Have you ever tried to buy a home for your family only to find out that you don't qualify for a mortgage loan? You thought that after 20 years as a customer of your bank, they would help you when you needed it the most, right? Unfortunately, the banks of today are not the banks of our parents and grandparents, and our relationships with them just don't matter anymore. My name is Frank Cotto, and I'm the president of the Lincoln Lending Group. We all may need a bank, but we also need a Frank, and that's what I'm here to do for you today. Lincoln Lending Group will waive all of your lending fees, which include your mortgage, application fee, your underwriting fee, processing fees, and any bank points. Just call 813-MORTGAGE. You drop the E, and we'll drop the fee.
Teresa Turner is a certified public accountant and the founder of Tax Happens, a boutique-style CPA firm providing small businesses and individuals with hands-on, personalized tax and accounting services. Although we would love to tell you how happy their clients are, we would like you to see for yourself. Tax Happens has 21 Google reviews and a 4.8-star Google rating, 17 Yelp reviews and a 5-star Yelp rating, 38 Facebook reviews and a 4.9-star Facebook rating. What sets Tax Happens apart is number 1, upfront pricing, 2, clear deadlines, 3, personally available year-round, and number 4, a willingness to empower clients to do as much or as little as they desire. Visit taxhappens.com for more information.
Savvy business owners utilize technology to connect with customers, communicate among teams, and collaborate with partners. Even with advances in technology, you all know it's not infallible. Where do you turn when your technology starts working against you? Who do you depend on to keep your team productive? Don't wait until your technology fails you. Get ahead of the crisis and contact the professionals at Alpha Computing Solutions so they can show you how to keep your technology running smoothly. Visit them online at www.alphacomputing.com.
Did you know the biggest challenge business leaders face today is creating an engaged and productive workforce culture? Bill Meyer Ham Consulting wants to help you solve this challenge. They will help you transform your workforce culture to produce amazing business results. Call Bill Meyer Ham Consulting at 941-201-4650 today or visit BillMeyerHam.com. That's BillMeyerHam.com. Have a conversation. What's up, business rock stars? Are you ready to bring out the CEO in you? Join Julianne Nichols, CEO of Focus on You Strategy, every other Friday on That Business Show. She'll be talking with other chief entrepreneurial officers about how they grew their businesses. Remember, you could join the conversation at Focus on You Strategies Focus Fridays Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/Focus Fridays. That's facebook.com/groups/Focus Fridays. Be the CEO of you.
I knew Mom wanted to stay at home. It's the center of her family, her life. But helping Mom stay in her home while managing mine was just too much. Honestly, it wasn't just about me. Mom didn't want me to be her caretaker. She wanted me to be her daughter. I felt so alone until I found out about Home Instead Senior Care. When we met the people at Home Instead, we just knew they were different. The experience was personal. And most importantly, for Mom and me, I get to be her daughter again.
Home Instead Senior Care. To us, it's personal.
How many times have you said to yourself, I wish there was an app for that? Stop wishing and start making the world better. Turn your brilliant idea into a profitable business by using Popcorn Apps. Their affordable app design will help get your blue sky idea or proven business to the next level at a fraction of the cost of other developers. They will help you get through all the steps needed to make your thoughts become live. See them at popcornapps.com with a K in popcorn, or call them at 727-415-6705 for your free consultation and pop your kernel of an idea into $1 million business and a world changer starting today.
Big delays in Pasco County on eastbound State Road 54 from just past Little Road over towards Trinity. All lanes are blocked just past Duck Slough Boulevard. So for a better ride, take Trinity Boulevard eastbound instead of State Road 54. Also a crash being cleared on 301 and Big Bend, and still some slow traffic off the Howard Franklin Bridge into the West Shore area. See traffic problems? Call the injury firm of Abrahamson Udor Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line 866-545-9595.
This report is brought to you by CompleteFlorida.org. With work and family commitments, finally finishing your college degree can feel impossible. That's where Complete Florida can help. Your personal coach is with you from day one, helping you make it work. Meet your coach and get more details at CompleteFlorida.org. Funded by the state of Florida.
Partly cloudy, a slight rain chance. High 87. Clearing overnight, low 71. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, high 87.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Missed a show? Then head over to TampaBayRadio.com, where all shows are available on demand. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
And we're back to That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business. Also, a quick reminder to pick up tickets to the upcoming Business Symposium on October 28th. By buying a ticket for that, you'll get a 2-for-1 deal and get an invite to the pre-event mixer on October 20th at the Tampa Club from 6 to 9.
Good morning. Before we went to break, we talked to Dale. And Dale, you mentioned just briefly that you happened to be mugged in Miami. And then after that, started kind of going after and creating a bucket list and living kind of like the one guy that I can't even think, Live Like You're Dying. Live like, who's the singer that sings that?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Married to the... Okay, anyway, I'll think of it later. Anyway.
Share your story.
Share the story from Miami a little bit about the mugging.
Well, actually, it was in Fort Lauderdale, and it was in downtown. And it was kind of a couple things that happened. I had... there was an old movie called Sliding Doors, and this sliding door is... Someone gave me a ticket to ride the city bus, which I would have never probably done that, but because they gave me the free ticket, I used it. I got off at the wrong spot near downtown Fort Lauderdale, and I didn't realize that part of downtown was quite the whole dynamic of the neighborhood changed pretty quickly. And this is a testimony not to mess around with your cell phone when you're in an area you're not familiar with. So I was kind of fumbling with the phone. It's 9 o'clock at night, not really anyone around, and all of a sudden this guy comes and hits me with a tire iron. And then he turns around and hits me in the face with the same object. And
because you were messing with your phone, you didn't even see him coming?
Correct. Okay. So it's kind of a awareness. I like to tell people this, just so have you walked down the street and someone run into you because they're messing with their phone? Mm-hmm. So it's the same thing. We really, if it's an environment you're not familiar with, you probably should be a little more on our toes. So anyhow, he proceeds to hit me and cracked the bone right in your eyebrow. And for some reason, I actually looked in this guy's eyes, and I think that was the changing of events, because instead of me being an object, I think I became actually a human at that point. The real estate agent came out and I negotiated with him. I did. I said,
"What'd you say?"
He said, "Give me your wallet." And I said, "How about if I give you the money out of the wallet?" And he actually agreed to that, which was kind of bizarre, but I think that eye interaction. So he got $40-50, and then I had a cheap watch from Walmart, and he wanted that watch. I said, "Have at it." So, basically he got, $50-60. But, it could have gone many different ways. My eye was shut. I spent, many hours in the ER, but it taught me that maybe, that when they say that things move in slow motion, after that, even though all this happened real quick, it's like you really are in a free fall, and it was very slow, the whole process. But I did make it. I decided, there's bucket list things that we need to accomplish. Maybe as fellow realtors could attest, or anyone, things that maybe used to be more irritating, in the scope of things, is it really that big a big deal?
Right.
So it kind of changed those ideas.
So you took some money, lost the watch, no interest in the phone. I guess when you take a phone, I mean, it's kind of like there's tracking, and I don't know what the value in stealing people's phones are these days because of that type of technology. I don't know, but he left you with your phone and everything.
Yep. So that was it was just kind of, I think he might have had a mission for drugs. I'm not sure. But
How long ago was that now?
I think it's 3 years ago.
Wow. Did they ever catch the person, or is that just one of those things that just kind of got swept under the rug there with the police department there?
It was kind of one of those no.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's tough.
It was a tough thing to do.
You're in some alleyway and somebody attacks you. You really probably don't have too much to go on. So, but
Yeah.
you're looking good. It looks like you made a full recovery from it. Back out on
Luckily,
the
yes.
marketplace, selling some homes and everything. So it showed you the value in getting things done and doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
And so that led to the completion of the book, Do What Works. Again, available on your website over at daleneighbors.com. We've got a couple minutes left. Just some general talk about the Tampa real estate market. I talk about that from time to time on here. Well, you know what are you seeing out there right now? It's very low inventory, tough for the buyers. What's your perception of the market?
My perception is anything from 150 to 300,000 that's a single family home that's in priced correctly for that neighborhood, that's a demand product right now. For many reasons, a lot of people can qualify and buy that kind of thing. You can typically, if it's in fairly decent shape, you can go FHA and VA or low down payment products, where they're still trying to do some movement on condos, but the problem with that is the down payment structure on a condo is a lot more down.
Right.
So the thing that I found, I've sold many really condo dweller buyers houses because of the down payment problem. So meaning they'd really rather live in a condo environment and not have to mess with the yard, but instead of having to put 25-30% down, they could put 3.5. So what we've had to create that demand also on that 150 to 300,000, you got single family home buyers and condo buyers trying to fight after that same group of homes.
Yeah, it's a challenging market out there. So if you're looking to buy a home out there and you get told multiple offer situations, don't be surprised. It's a very low inventory, and if you're a seller out there looking to sell, now's a good time. A lot of multiple offer situations driving up the values of homes out there. Dale Neighbors, realtor with Coldwell Banker. Appreciate you being in studio today. Good discussion.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
And again, pick up a copy of his book, Do What Works, by Tampa's Real Estate Guru. Very simple, easy to read book, about 85 pages, and get some good information on real estate. Visit daleneighbors.com, or if you could use his services, give him a call at 813-679-1117, 813-679-1117. Thanks so much to Kelly Wilson, hanging in there for a third straight day, doing very well, and you'll be hearing a lot more from her on this program. This show is now That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business.
Enjoy your day.